appreciate this opportunity to talk about small business program at NIH and NIAID. And I wish I will be there in the room. And if I will be in the room, I will ask question if somebody applied already to NIH or maybe to our institute or maybe got awarded. I really hope that my presentation will be helpful if you decide to apply or thinking about how to move forward with awarded grant or contract. Just one. Okay, just one sec. Okay. Because of lack of time, I'm not going to spend time talking about program itself, like policy-wise, eligibility, how to apply. But I highly recommend to visit SBIR main NIH site, so-called seed site, where you can learn a lot about solicitations, about how to apply. For example, on the next slide, like there is information how to apply, how to register. Again, even success story. You can find a lot of information on this site. But I would like to mention about the programs. Again, we're talking about Small Business Innovation Research Program, SBIR, Small Business Technology Transfer, STTR program. Both program congressionally mandated. Both programs set aside with potential for commercialization. And at the NIH, this program treated similar way, going through the reviews, scores. But I need to mention one of the key difference between this program. For SBIR, we always encourage applicants to have collaboration with research institution. For STTR, they must have collaborator with university or research institution. And the reason why I want to mention about history of the program, and you will explain why I'm talking about this. The program SBIR was founded in 1982 during Reagan administration, and the goal was to improve U.S. economy to create more jobs. STTR program created 10 years later in 1992. In 2011, program became a law, and as a law, SBIR and STTR program went through multiple reauthorizations, and each reauthorization was approximately 5-6 years interval. But the current one, the last one, was in 2022. And the last reauthorization was only for 3 years. And this is the reason why I'm giving you this speech, because the reason for this shorter time reauthorization, two key reasons. Concern about Congress, it took quite a bit of time before they signed the bill. Concern over national security risk. It was allegations that some foreign countries are exploiting the SBIR program and gaining access to U.S. sensitive technology and research. And the second was about small business companies who are receiving multiple funding, but not effectively moving towards commercialization. And the last reauthorization includes several new provisions to address these issues. And one of them, mandatory foreign risk assessment for awardees. And this is the reason why I'm talking about this. Now, all applicants must disclose ties to foreign countries prior to award. And the process like this, there is a disclosure forms. I'm talking about NIH. Disclosure form, applicant needs to fill out this form and submit during just-in-time process for grants and in the proposals for contracts. Just keep in mind that this process, it's not related to review, for example, Center of Scientific Review at NIH, who review in most of the grants, yes? This is a special group of program analysts, so-called NIH Defense Counterintelligence and Insider Threats group, and they're doing this risk assessment. And the reason why it is important to remember that even the grant got fundable score. If you're not going to pass the security check, you're not going to be funded, unfortunately, yes. Now, let's talk about NIH and NIAID. 24 institutes within NIH are participating in small business program. Budget for NIH 1.4 billion, which is quite a bit money. For NIAID fiscal year 24, we have budget 193 million, almost 194 million. And most of this money goes to support grants, contracts, and cooperative agreements within NIAID. NIAID structure, we have 4 extramural divisions. Division of Extramural Activities, it's basically small business program under this division, grant management, acquisition office, again, DA oversees policies and management activities. We have Division of AIDS, Division of Allergy, Immunology, Transplantation, Division of Microbiology and Infectious Diseases. This is the largest divisions. They have more than 300 targets. And most of the budget of these divisions goes to support, again, grants, contracts, and cooperative agreements. And I put a link. If you would like to learn more about science and areas of priorities for each division, you can take a look at the link below and to learn more. I want to talk about budget, and it can be confusing. We're getting a lot of questions. As you know, Small Business Administration every year will adjust dollar amount for phase 1, phase 2 awards based on current inflation rate. And recently, the information SBA published that for phase 1, they will pay $314,000 for projects timeline between 6 months to 2 years. For phase 2, $2 million for the project timeline between 1 to 3 years. But NIH recognized that some biomedical innovations require additional funding, and this dollar amount what SBA published is not enough for certain projects. And therefore, NIH have a waiver from SBA to allow larger awards. And on the link on this slide, you can see the list of these topics. I need to say that in case of NIAID, we actually create these topics pretty broad. We did it on purpose just to be sure that your science actually can fit in the waiver topics. And believe me, a lot of applicants, grantees knows about this. They're applying for higher budget. In case of NIAID, we will pay for phase 1 applications $300,000 per year, total cost up to 2 years. It means for phase 1, you can actually get $600,000. For phase 2, we can pay budget $1 million total cost per year up to 3 years. You don't need additional approvals to get this higher budget, but I highly recommend you that you need to be sure that your higher budget request match science in your application. And therefore, request for these budget levels must be well justified in the budget section of your application. Also, keep in mind about technical and business assistant. You can request above award total numbers I just mentioned. It will go on the top, yes, in addition to the award. You can request for phase 1 up to $6,500 per year. If you're doing 2 years, it means double of this dollar amount. For phase 2, $50,000 for the life of the project. And on this slide, I put activities which eligible you can request TABA, and also there is a site on the SEED website, technical and business assistant TABA. You can read more about this, and please add detailed description of technical and business assistants and information about your vendor. A couple of links here. As you maybe know, NIH have 4 parent omnibus solicitations, 2 of them clinical trials not allowed, and 2 clinical trials required. I want to mention that NIAID, we are participating only in clinical trials not allowed. And also there is a couple of target solicitations links where you can find. And we also have SBIR contract solicitations, which usually solicitations go out once a year. The last one is closed right now. Watch maybe sometimes July, beginning of August, it will be a new contract solicitation. As I mentioned, we are not participating in omnibus clinical trials, but we have a targeted solicitation, so-called NIAID SBIR NIAID SBIR Phase 2 clinical trials implementation solicitation, so-called U44. I highly recommend, if your project related to clinical trials, I highly recommend to check this solicitation. Keep in mind that our divisions prefer to have prior consultations because it's cooperative agreement, and the cooperative agreement usually required more collaboration with federal staff, and therefore usually there is an email link. If you're considering this solicitation, send email. Normally it goes to me, but I will see what's the project with the division and connect you with subject matter experts with whom you can discuss this solicitation. It's only SBR, not STTR mechanism. If you're not sure if your project related to clinical trials, there is a tool which can help you. This tool will guide you. You will answer several questions, and it will recommend you which solicitation to use. Just want to mention few links again. Highly recommend to check NIH Reporter. This tool allowed you to search for NIH-funded grants and contracts, and including those specific for minority women and veterans. Then you can check NIH Guide for Grants and Contracts, and specifically NIAID funding opportunities. Reporter NIH, I highly recommend, very helpful site. About the program, structure program, I'm sure most of you know, Phase 1, proof of principle. Only awarded Phase 1s can apply to Phase 2, research and development, and then Phase 3, commercialization, non-federal money. But I would like to mention that we NIAID also participating. We have fast track mechanism. We also have direct to Phase 2, Phase 2B, and commercialization readiness program. And on the next slides, I will talk briefly about each mechanism. Fast track mechanism. It's basically when you submit your application and you as one package, Phase 1 and Phase 2 again as one package, it will go through the review. It will get one score. The advantage of this mechanism that related to budget, you will finish your Phase 1 if your program officer happy with your results and approve your progress report. You can get funding for Phase 2 maybe a couple of weeks later, instead of, when you apply in Phase 1, waiting to find out your approval or not, and then apply again to Phase 2. Phase 2B, this mechanism for successful Phase 2 applicants who got awarded Phase 2, applicants who need additional time and funding to continue research and development. Keep in mind that not NIH institutes are using this mechanism. You need to talk to program officials. And also some institutes required matching funds. Not in case of NIAID. We recommend, but it's not a requirement to have a matching funds, for example, from investors. Again, for awarded Phase 2. Another great program, so-called commercialization readiness pilot program. Again, Phase 2B and this program are both to help applicants to kill so-called value of death, move successfully towards commercialization. From NIH published 2 solicitation therapy, NIAID are participating only in 1. Clinical trials not allowed. And again, you can read more about solicitation. On this slide, I put the difference again, kind of to address, I mentioned this, Phase 2B and commercialization readiness. As I said, Phase 2B for grantees who need more time and additional funding to move to the next step. Only Phase 2 awardees are eligible to apply to Phase 2B. In case of commercialization readiness program, this program support activities beyond research and development to help prepare product for market, regulatory approvals, manufacturing. This program CRP available for both SBIR and STTR, Phase 2 awardees and Phase 2B awardees. Again, as I said, focus not on research and development, but additional activities like regulatory consulting, GMP manufacturing, market analysis, customer validation. And we also have so-called direct to phase 2. This is for applicants who generate data equivalent phase 1, but using non-SBIR money. They can actually apply directly to phase 2. This mechanism includes in parent omnibus solicitation. It's only SBIR, not STTR. And again, designed for applicants who already have preliminary data that they're equivalent to phase 1 of NIH SBIR award. A few slides I want to talk about again. Hopefully these tools will be helpful for you if you decide to apply. About reporter I mentioned already. This is a wonderful tool, so-called Central Scientific Review Assisted Referral Tool. I'm getting these questions quite a bit when applicant not sure what study session to use. And my recommendation will be always talk to program officers. This is the best source of information. But if, for example, program officer not available or not giving you the right information, use this tool. It's not just for SBIR, it's for other grants mechanism too. You can, in case of SBIR, you will select SBIR STTR panels, then you will put short information about your project and click search, and it will provide you maybe 4 or 5 recommendations for study sessions. This tool is also very helpful. This form is in your application package. You can request assignment to the institute. For example, we have conversation with applicants, and they definitely within the mission of NIAID, and we always recommend this. They can ask assignment to our institute, but you can actually request assignment up to 3 institutes. And the reason why, because sometimes science can overlap between institutes, and the reason why it can be helpful. For example, you got a good score, but it's not a fundable range for us. But you have a secondary assignment. Program officials can talk to program officials from another institute and see if money is available. I'm not saying that it will work all the time, but it can be helpful, like an additional opportunity to get funded. Also, in the same forum, you can actually recommend study section. You can recommend expertise or reviewer you're looking for. You cannot recommend reviewer name, obviously. If you have any conflict of interest, you also can address in this forum. Also, keep in mind, it used to be all this information can be requested in cover letter, but now cover letter can be used only to explain, for example, why application is late, provide a notice of plans to submit video, and also let reviewers know that your project generating a large-scale genomic data. But again, as I said, cover letter cannot be used to make assignment or suggest specific reviews. On this slide, I put documents I highly recommend you to read before you decide to apply. Omnibus solicitation, very helpful. Check review criteria, what they're looking for. Guide for SBIR, STTR instructions. Also, you can find a lot of information. NIH grant policy statement. And also check the forums, because NIH is moving to forums I. There is a link. All this, you can see all links. You can get more information by checking this. Also, important fact to remember, all eligibility at NIH will be determined at the time of the award. Again, when you will get awarded, grant management will go through all eligibility, and if needed, will send you information, request for additional information. PI not required to have PhD or master's degree, but required to have expertise to oversee the project scientifically and technically. PI not required to have U.S. citizenship, but must legally reside within U.S. and must be available to perform the research proposed for the duration of the project. Also keep in mind that SBIR STTR Phase 1 applications may be submitted to different agencies for Phase 2. And grantees can switch between SBIR, switch to STTR program, to any active NIH SBIR STTR solicitation. application may be submitted to different agencies for similar work, but you're not going to get award twice, but you can submit for similar work. Also want to mention, and there is a link, I'm actually very proud of this project. NIAID, we were the first institute who created samples of successful application for small business program. And there is a link, you're welcome to check. I put on this slide my name, my email for general inquiries, also our website, and also a link if you're looking for somebody, point of contact, SBIR point of contact for within NIH. And we're always saying this at NIH, most important piece of advice. I never realized that actually applicants quite often under the impression they cannot reach and talk to us before they will submit. This is actually not true. We always, at least NIAID, we always recommend to talk in advance, not 2 days before you will submit, or not 1 day before you will submit, but talk to us before. You have my email, and feel free to reach out. I have a team of 5 people I will show you on the next slide. Please include non-confidential abstract of your technology or specific aims. The reason why we need it, because we will reach out to our point of contact within divisions, and we will find you the subject matter expert with whom you can have additional conversation about your technology and your project. And of course, submit earlier, not few minutes before due submission date. And this is my team, great guys. If you will reach out to me, maybe some of them, instead of me, will reply and provide information needed. And thank you so much. If you have questions, feel free to ask.
What's the current success rate for SBIR grants, both clinical and non-clinical?
Sure. Success rates can vary from institutes. I will talk about, I'm going to mention about NIAID. In our case, phase 1, we're talking about maybe now 15%, between 15-20%. Phase 2 used to be 20%, now maybe 17%. A good source, again, reporter NIH, the link I put on my slides, they have success rates, they have information, a lot of information. They called it NIH data book. This site within reporter, you can get all information, how many awarded, tons of information again. I think it's the last they updated in 2023 reporter. Yeah. Okay.